Let's move to Maine. I'm Mark Erickson. Today we are talking to Dave Wallace of Wallace Roofing. The website is wallaceroofingmaine.com. Dave, hello, and it is winter in Maine. How much roofing is going on these days?
Good afternoon, Mark. Nice to talk to you. We are roofing in between we pick the good days and don't work on the bad days. Like today's a bad day. Yesterday we were roofing. I mean, it definitely takes a toll on the weather. Does make a difference. But some people have to get a roof done in the wintertime and they don't have a choice.
So let's talk a little bit about the different types of roofs, specifically the different kinds of materials that you use. How many roof types are there?
Well, there's basically three types of roofs that are used in Maine. One of them would be shingles, architectural shingles to be specific. The other one would be metal roofing. You've seen a couple different styles. We call it a standing seam metal roof or a screw down metal roof. They're becoming a lot more popular in the state of Maine. And then the third one is rubber roofs based on like a commercial building. A flat roof would have a rubber roof on it. Those are basically the three options that we have in Maine.
The first step would be to determine what roof is best for just a residential home, and what are some of the guidelines that you use to help customers sort that out?
The two major things on deciding on a roof is I ask people, say, first of all, how long are you going to be here? Shingles has about a 35-year life expectancy on a warranty, and then a metal roof will last a lot longer, but it's twice the money. So you have to look at a couple of options there. What, cost effectiveness versus how long you're going to stay in the house. If you look at the average person, a lot of people move quite often. So a roof is not necessarily the most important thing.
When I was a kid, I grew up in a house that I think the builders and architects call a salt box, but it had a flat roof. And in the wintertime, my mom sent me up the ladder to shovel off the roof. So I had the walkway, the driveway, and then the entire roof of the house, and there was a garage also with a flat roof. Are flat roofs still a thing these days?
Well, they still make salt boxes in Maine, believe it or not, but they have a product now called Ice and Water Shield that goes underneath the shingles that prevents the ice backup from getting inside the home.
Mm-hmm.
We recommend, as far as shoveling goes, there is times that you have to shovel the roof in Maine. We try to tell people don't shovel it unless you have to. You don't have to go up and shovel a roof every time it snows. Like this 4 or 5 inch storm that we have, you're better off to leave it alone because you do more damage to the roof by shoveling it than you do by just letting it go.
Where were you when my mother was making me go up the roof for every single storm?
Every single storm, not today. and then we do recommend when you do shovel as minimal as you need to. So if you've got a 1 or 2 little storms, you do not need to shovel your roof. Most people shovel the roof because of the weight situation. They're always worried about the weight up there. Construction now is a lot different than it was, 50 years ago. The roofs are a lot stronger. So when you do shovel the roof, you want to shovel from the top down, not from the bottom up, because you're doing more damage to the roof by shoveling it than you are by leaving it alone.
Interesting. All right. And while we're on the subject of rooftops during wintertime, talk a little bit about ice dams and the best way to prevent those from happening.
Okay, well, ice dams are normally caused by two issues. The first one is being insulation loss up in the attic. So it lets heat come up from the attic that gets hot and cold, and that's what melts the snow and turns it into ice. It'll melt during the day, and then at nighttime it'll freeze, and that's when you get the ice dams. Most of the time, it's got nothing to do with the roof. It's more the insulation in the attic. And also the other part of that, Mark, is if you don't have proper ventilation in your attic, via a ridge vent, gable end vents, or soffit vents, that causes the attic to be hot, and that's what melts it. So you have to have your attic insulated properly in order to get away from the ice dams.
In addition to wintertime and snow and cold weather, which are all things that are just very commonplace in the state of Maine, what other factors kind of make roofing houses or buildings in the state of Maine different from doing it in other parts of the country?
Well, we do get a lot of high wind area around here. Like last week, we had some high winds that are causing roof damages, and also we get hail periodically. One thing we don't get is the hurricanes. So we don't have that issue. But nowadays, we do more nailing than we did 20 years ago or 25 years ago. We used to put 4 nails per shingle. Now we're putting 6 nails per shingle, which they call it hurricane nailing or high wind nailing. So we have done some different things. And then again, I talked about ice and water shield. We do a lot more of ice and water shield than we used to do.
How about homes and buildings that are in coastal areas? Does the salt air take a toll on the roof?
Yeah, the salt and the hail does a lot of damage. Wind, obviously. There's only so much you can do. You can nail it as much as you can. And I tell people, make sure you have good insurance.
So in the state of Maine, what material roof do you sell the most of, Dave?
Well, it's architectural shingles, which is basically asphalt shingles. There's 3 or 4 different brands that are available in Maine on a regular basis. And then we're starting to swing to a lot more metal roofs. The shingles are done because of a price point, and they do get about a 30, 35-year lifespan out of them now, which is a lot more than they did 20 years ago. The architectural shingles are like a double thick shingle compared to what you had on your house when you were a kid.
So let's talk about those. You said those are asphalt shingles, and they're thicker asphalt shingles these days. Asphalt and asphalt products somehow connects to the price of oil. So does the price of the materials for an asphalt roof go up and down a little bit?
Oh, 100%. There's no going down, I can tell you that. We actually just got a notice last week. We're going to have an 8 to 10% increase in April. You know, it's oil is one factor, but also labor rates and, different things like that cause the price of materials to go up. Trucking is getting out of hand. Shipping, some stuff comes from overseas. Shipping is becoming an issue. So it's tied to oil, but it's tied to, multitude of things.
If someone is thinking about moving to Maine and they're looking at homes in the state of Maine, what's your best advice to a homeowner for what they should be looking for and maybe even be wary of on a rooftop on a house?
When you have a house inspection, most of the time the homeowner inspectors are not going up on the roof. So I highly recommend that you get a roofer to do a roof inspection. Normally, we charge $100 to $200 to get up on the roof and actually give you a good inspection, over and above your inspection from your inspector for your home before you buy it. Try to find out how old the roof is. If the customer that you're buying the house from does not know how old it is, you're probably going to be due for a roof.
All right, and I know that that a lot depends on the size of the structure that you're inspecting, but in round terms, how long does it take for you to do a roof inspection?
Yeah, probably like 15, 20 minutes. Take a few pictures and look at the possible problem. And normally on the main part of the roof, you can see it. It's pretty obvious.
Let's talk a little bit about metal roofing. You said you're starting to sell more metal roofing these days. How long will that metal roof last in the state of Maine?
Well, they have their own warranties as well. They're about a 50-year warranty, and there's always exclusion for something. I don't get too hyped up on warranty when I'm selling roofing because the manufacturer is going to try to figure out any way to get out of it that they can. So, they do pay, but you got to fight for it. The good thing about a metal roof is the snow does slide off. You don't have to shovel it. Even your old salt box, you wouldn't have to shovel it. The snow would slide off from up there. So those are one of the benefits from a metal roof and a longer warranty.
Dave, about 100 years ago, I worked down the street from where you are. I worked in Auburn, Maine at a radio station, WLAM.
Okay.
And that building at that time, when they put a second story on that building, they had heaters in the roof to melt the ice so that the roof wouldn't get caked up with ice and have, ice falling on people going in and out of the doors of the radio station. Are heaters on rooftops still a thing?
No, I haven't. I don't see that very often. But what they do now is they make what we call snow stops. So it's a kind of a bar that goes across the bottom edge of the roof that keeps the snow up on the roof, but still allows it to melt. So those are things you have to be aware of. You definitely have to be aware of where the snow is going to slide off. It does make it nice that it slides off, but you also got to watch out for possible somebody getting hit in the head.
Yeah, over doorways and things of that nature.
Correct.
And when you're doing an estimate for a private or a home roof, you'll include the necessary accessories like those snow stops?
Correct. You decide where the problem areas are going to be. like in front of the garage doors, over the front door, over the back porch, places that you walk all the time. You have to make sure that nobody's going to get hurt because it will slide off. It slides off like a avalanche.
So you're located in Gray, Maine. What is the radius of your service area? How far will you go to build a roof for somebody?
We usually go within an hour of Gray. I actually live down in Lyman, which is near Biddeford, Sanford. So we go an hour from my house and an hour from my brother's house. So we're pretty much from Kittery to Wiscasset and everywhere in between.
Kittery to Wiscasset and everywhere in between. I like it.
Yeah. And then also we go, if somebody has a camp up in Greenville or Jackman, we go there. We try to bunch them up, get a couple of jobs up there and send the guys up for the day, stay overnight. We're liable to go anywhere. For an average,
say, 3-bedroom home, how long does the roof project take?
We have 35 employees, so there isn't a roof in Maine that we can't pretty much do in one day.
And how about the time differentiation between the different types of roof? Does an asphalt roof go faster than a metal roof or vice versa?
Yes. So on an asphalt roof, most roofs we can do in a day. Metal roofs on an average home you're talking about probably take 4 or 5 days. So that's where the price difference comes in to start with, because it's a lot more labor intense to do a metal roof.
What about somebody that wants to put solar panels on their rooftops?
So we work with quite a few solar companies right now because it's the thing of the times. You have to have, the solar company will not put solar panels on unless the roof is 10 years or newer. So anything over 10 years, the solar company will highly recommend, and they will not put your solar panels on until you have a new roof. Doesn't matter if it's metal or shingles, they actually prefer to put solar panels on a metal roof. It's easier for them installation-wise.
And let's talk about things that are not roof, because technically your business name is Wallace Home Improvement, and you do a few more things that are not roofs but are somehow connected to rooftops, right?
Yeah, we basically do exterior of your home, which would be roofing, siding, windows, gutters, decks. We're exterior guys, is what we're called. We're not going to put your new kitchen in, but we'll do anything on the outside of the house.
And I would imagine that oftentimes gutters are an integral part of the rooftop, correct?
Yeah, well, we started out back in 1989 as mainly gutters. We found a niche back in the late 80s. A lot of guys were not doing gutters, so we bought a new gutter machine and started doing gutters. And then we got asked to do a roof. In 1991, we changed the name to Wallace Home Improvement, and we've been roofing and siding ever since. And we still do gutters today. We actually have a state-of-the-art machine that custom makes all the gutters right at your site. As well as we have a new standing seam machine where we make all the panels for your metal roofs right at your own home as well.
So you are customizing the steel metal roofing materials on site?
Correct.
That sounds very complicated. Wow.
Yeah, well, it's a lot easier than trying to order from a manufacturer and not have the right lengths or the right colors or the right sizes. It's just a lot easier to make them on site. And again, that's why it takes a little bit longer to do a metal roof.
Talk a little bit more about Wallace Home Improvement. Tell us about the company.
We've been in business, like I said, about 35 years in the roofing and siding business now. We're one of the largest roofing companies in Maine. We cover a big territory. One of the things about some of the bigger manufacturer or bigger roofing companies are not taking any money down. So I want people to be aware, in the state of Maine, you're only allowed to get 1/3 down up front. And then as materials are delivered, you can get more down. So I need people to be aware. Don't be giving guys big deposit, because it's against the law in the state of Maine, more than 1/3. We don't take any money down until the job is complete. Doesn't matter how big or how small. So it does a trust, we do a trust thing. We trust you, you trust us. We're going to do what we're supposed to do. And what I promise, because I do 99% of the sales, my wife and I do. So when I say something, we make sure that we get it done and done correctly in the way I promised. You're in the driver's seat when you have our money. So it makes it even more incentive that we got to do a good job and make sure you're completely happy, because you won't pay if you're not happy. So, try to hold back as much money as you can on the contractor that you're working with.
And if you're using somebody other than Wallace Roofing, remember, in the state of Maine, 1/3 is the max that you can put down for a deposit on the job, right?
Yes, unless there's special order windows or special order siding or something like that, then you can get all the money up front.
You mentioned that your wife helps out with some of the sales work, and earlier in the interview, you mentioned your brother. Tell us a little bit about how this is a family affair.
Yeah, so we have my brother and I. My brother's actually the owner of the company. I'm the sales manager. My wife and my daughter are the office managers, but my wife goes out on most of the estimates with me. We do the estimate right there. No, I can get you an estimate immediately when we're at your house. I don't have to call and get pricing. I mean, we do this every single day. So, and it's been a family business since 1991.
And everyone in the family is still speaking to each other, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody has their job, so it's not an issue. My brother deals with the crew and keeps everybody going, and my wife and I do all the ordering and all the deliveries and all the estimates.
And if everyone's still speaking to each other, you must be doing something right.
35 years, everybody does their job. It's simple.
What's the toughest roofing job you've done in the past 35 years? Does something stand out?
No, not really. I mean, they're all not that difficult. It's just roofing, we say.
It ain't brain surgery, right?
That's correct. It's basically stripping the roof and assessing the roof decking and make sure nothing's rotten and fix it and go from there. Our contracts are pretty specific, so everybody is aware of what could or may happen. So we have no trouble at the end of the job because we touch base with the customer the whole time. And again, most jobs are one day. So we're in and we're out, see you on the next one.
When you're stripping a roof off a building and you're going to be replacing that roof, is there the possibility to find surprises underneath things once you've got all the shingles off the roof?
Oh, yeah, 100%, Mark. It's probably, on a normal residential house, if you've had leaks in the past, that area could be potentially some rotted wood. Or if you had improper ventilation all those years, I'll give you an example. The other day, we did a roof last Friday. The people are selling the home. It's completely full of mold up in the upstairs attic. They had poor ventilation. Every single sheet of plywood had to be replaced on the roof. And we knew it up front going in. We had the mold guy there at the same time. We changed all the plywood, which we knew, like I said, in advance. And we were still in and out of there in a day.
That's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, sometimes you're not prepared, but most of the time where we work, there's a lumber yard within, 20 minutes. You get material pretty fast. And again, I have a crew of 35, so we send as many bodies as we need to get the job done. People move into Maine, just be aware, find out how old your roof is. And if you don't know, definitely get an inspection done by a roofer so you have that extra peace of mind. Doesn't cost much.
And estimates from Wallace Roofing are free, and you do those right on the spot, correct?
Correct. We have samples right with us. We talk about different options, talk about time frames. We talk about how long it'll take. We're in communication, the whole process. And again, no money down till the job's done. That's a big trust thing for all of us.
If somebody is building a new home, what would be the ideal roof? If money were not an object, what would be the ideal roof on a brand new home in the state of Maine?
I look at the plan of the house and would make recommendations because you could go with shingles or you could go with a metal roof. I guess it depends on the house. How many valleys, how many, flat parts of the roof do we have? Where's going to be the potential issues? That's my deciding factor. It's not about the money on our end. I would preferably go do 5 shingle roofs versus 1 metal with the same crew. But, we're going to decide based on longevity of how long you think you're going to be in the home. Just because you're building a new home don't mean you're going to be there forever.
All right, Dave Wallace, Wallace Roofing. The website is wallaceroofingmaine.com, as in the state of Maine, so make sure you throw an E on the end of it, wallaceroofingmaine.com. Dave Wallace, thank you so much for the education and spending time with us.
All right, Mark, I appreciate it.
For Let's Move to Maine, I'm Mark Erickson.